Let's bring on our crypto trader. And let me just grab his Twitter, man, because this is one of my favorite follows on Twitter, guys. You guys always got to have people that you can kind of that you like their style, right? That you like the way they go about it. And you guys know I don't follow too many people. And there's a reason why, because the truth is I want my feed strictly based on stock market action, traders that I, kind of can follow a little bit of their information. Of course, do my own due diligence, but let's bring on Default Trades here. And I just threw up the link in the chat so you guys can check him out. How we doing, Default?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? It seems like it's another day in the market where a little bit of a shakeup. Yesterday, we got the Qs just ripping to the upside. Qs coming down today, but we're not here to talk about the Qs, right? We're here to talk a little bit about crypto. First, let's get to know a little bit about you. Why did you get into trading? What got you started? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I got into trading really early, probably 2011 was my foray into crypto. That was like back before there was exchanges. You had to do all OTC. Like there was no other way. I mean, you can meet in person and stuff like that, but like generally speaking, you had to meet on IRC like channels and you had to use green dot cards. It was a very sketchy space, but
Yeah.
it was great. I think I first started buying Bitcoin around like $7. I mean, I'm just like a tech nerd guy. So like I read the white paper and it was like a no-brainer. You pretty
All
much
right.
like,
You probably weren't like me trying to get on the Silk Road with the Bitcoin, but hey, you know how it was back in 2009,
I mean,
the
no,
early
like Silk
days.
Road did play a large factor in its adoption. Like people can't really deny that. It really did play a large factor in its adoption. And I mean, it would have got to where it is today, but maybe not as fast.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about here with that action, maybe do a little research into that. You might be surprised the underworking of really how, I would say Bitcoin came to fame, because that's how I heard about Bitcoin in the first situation. But let's get to the action. Of course, you do some trading action there. So what coins do you like? Do you mainly stick to the top names, or do you mix around? What have you been seeing in the current environment?
So, very crazy turn of events today, of course. It's just like on par. SEC announcements, like right as everyone's starting to get all bulled up and everything. As far as that goes, there's a lot of things we could talk about in terms of like there's a lot of corruption. That's like kind of why it has a bad rep. It's a very unregulated space, but along with that, comes potential crazy gains for myself. I'm a fundamentalist of like I like Bitcoin and stuff, but do I hold Bitcoin? Like not really that much in terms of long-term sustainability. I'm looking for like explosive gains. So like I like to stick to like the mid caps. So like I'm really bullish on like Render. Solana's good. I mean, they're getting a lot of adoption. Usually like some of the best trading coins are the ones that get faded the hardest. It's kind of just like inversing retail, the same kind of thing with like stock trading. Link, Rune, a lot of these is like it's based around like a fundamental analysis, but also like their charts look really good. And this past like 2 months have just been like insane like gains for trading these coins. Like also AVAX. They've getting some like real like mainstream partnerships, like especially with Link. They partnered with the Swift banking system, which is just like crazy. That's about as mainstream as it gets.
Yeah.
I think Render, they just have all kinds of partnerships across the board, especially with like Apple, Microsoft, who now is potentially like the leader in the AI space. It's still unknown, but yeah, for me, I like to like I don't really mess with the meme coins. You can make like really good money doing that, but if you're going to, don't allocate a lot of capital to that, because you're most likely gonna lose unless you're like really, really good at trading, which unfortunately most people in crypto are not. They don't have it's kind of like a hay fever type market where people just like rush into it thinking it's a gold mine, if they're going to be a millionaire, and they're really just like the exit liquidity for other people. It's an interesting space to say the least. Like I don't trade crypto that often. But when I do, I really mash the gas on it because I see narratives and I see chart setups that are just like no brainers to me. Like every one of these charts that I just mentioned, if you look at like the weekly, they all looked the same. You know, high top, then they like down, consolidating for like months, maybe a year, and just starting to turn up, getting some bullish momentum, the volumes coming in. You see the on-chain data, you see the stable coins starting to flow into the market, and you really want to front run like before it becomes like well known on the timeline where everyone's like, oh yeah, like all these people start shilling it, you know, and it's like I'm already in position, you know, you don't want to be like looking on the timeline for alpha pretty much most of the time. You have to be able to like go find that yourself.
And you want to be able to sell into that when you see that on the timeline,
Exactly.
right? That's the liquidity you're trying to sell into. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's just like stocks. I got two quick questions for you. Number one, do you mine Bitcoin at all on the side?
Not anymore. But I used to mine a lot. Actually mining back in the day, CPUs, GPUs, and then I was like some of the first people to get my hands on ASICs when it was Butterfly Labs was the first people that put them out, and people thought that they were not real because it was theoretical technology, and it was one company in China, and it was like pay us now and you'll get it later, and I mean, you know. I was like, I mean, this thing's supposedly like 100 times plus better at mining Bitcoin. Like, I'm going to shoot my shot. 6 months later, they arrive at the door, and you could tell, like, if you look on the blockchain, you can just see like blocks just start getting shredded in half. Like, so yeah, I mined a lot of Bitcoin, and but now the requirements, like capital wise for buying the miners, electrical costs, cooling costs, it's just, your average person's not going to.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because the mining that I did was part of like Nice Hash was part of the pool, so I could just use my existing computer to do it, but it wasn't anything serious. Yeah. It was just nice to kind of get some of that. The other thing, you were just talking about that chart formation there on Render and some of those other ones. Is there some type of Bitcoin news that you look for that allows you to identify some of these early? The reason I ask that is because, like you were just saying, you know, when it becomes mainstream, when it becomes critical mass, you want to sell into that strength. Yeah. Is there anything that you look for ahead of this to kind of tell you that this might be where the next bullish move is?
It's kind of like a multi-part system for me. For one, I mean, it seems really simplistic and kind of like, you know, I guess most people don't really understand, but like how market structures work and how liquidity cycles like move. And like a big part of that is sentiment analysis, honestly. Like I really do have some like big accounts I follow for inversing. Unfortunately, whenever I see them like, oh, it's all like they start doom posting, that's when I'm starting to look for bullish setups. Like I'm like, okay, so it also moves in cycles. So yes, you want to see Bitcoin moving first, and traditionally it is the the gold standard, as it were, of crypto. So Bitcoin usually has its first move, and then you have the altcoins that follow through, and then it's like seasonality in stocks. So like it goes Bitcoin, altcoins, and then we're kind of transitioning now into like the meme coins, and NFTs are also going because it's like it's the
NFTs, baby. They're back.
It goes in like from the most stable assets downward. So now meme coins and NFTs are the most high risk assets. That also comes with like the highest gains potentially, or the highest liquidations. So, you know, take your pick. I like to stay in the middle because that's where you're going to get the best risk to reward, in my opinion. Like I said, if you pull up Avalanche, AVAX, if you pull up Link, they consolidated for like a year and a half, which is nuts. Like all these charts are like almost the same. But yeah, also when you start seeing mainstream partnerships like Citibank, like all these people that have been saying it's a scam for so long are now starting to pretty much come to the table and talk and be like, you know, this technology might be useful for us. Actually, all this on-chain analytics, it's a public ledger. It's all it is at the end of the day. It's like, I mean, Link is different. Link is honestly, unfortunately, probably my favorite long-term bullish setup because it is like, it's payment abstraction. So it's like the interoperability of all blockchains. So instead of having to have a bunch of Ethereum or AVAX or whatever for paying for gas fees on all these different blockchains, Link is going to basically like do all that on the back end. And it's going to be like being able to, I guess, swap to Link and handle all these cross-border payments. So that's pretty much why like I'm really bullish on that long term. And the partnerships are just like, you can't deny that. Swift banking system is just, it's insane. It's what XRP wanted to be basically, but you know, they didn't handle their ICO properly, and you know, SEC lawsuit and all that good stuff. But yeah, crypto is, I mean, that's pretty much considered for most people that know what's going on. You can't say it's a scam anymore. There are scams within the ecosystem, but at large, blockchain is here to stay. It's, you know, but take your pick, you know, do your research. There's a lot of research to do, but there's still some catalysts in the market. Like, it's well known that Binance is kind of like FTX 2.0.
Yeah, I mean,
at
there's
a
not much
larger
trust.
scale. At a larger
There's
scale.
not much trust in the bigger. Do you have a preferred platform that you like out there?
I mean, idealistically, I would love to just like trade straight on decentralized exchanges. The problem is that the lack of on and off fiat ramps, which makes the spreads wider, makes the fees larger, which makes it unpalatable for like most retail. However, you do centralized exchanges, now you have to start trusting the holder of your crypto. And I got hit on FTX. I got hit on Mt. Gox. I've been hit a million times, but you know, you got to like learn to, I mean, don't keep that much capital on there, pull your profits. And DEXs are starting to become more and more palatable. They're like starting to like have some outlier on and off fiat ramps. So I'm moving more in that direction, because ultimately you want to control your own money. This isn't like, this is not Wall Street, like where you don't have to worry about them rugging you.
Yeah.
It can happen. It does happen quite frequently. And it hurts. I lost like 50% of my capital when FTX went down. So, you know, whether I get that back in litigation or not, I'm not really betting on that. But if it happens, it's nice. But you learn a lesson every time. And that's same for trading stocks. You just want to like progressively take these lessons and improve. And don't make the same mistake again. Don't keep 50% of your money on an exchange in the Bahamas. That's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, and I love the honesty. You know, you've been here from very early on. You've dealt with the ups and downs, but that hasn't scared you away. And I think that's important for traders out there to understand. There's a reason why. There's a lot of opportunity in this space, and it's still kind of, I would say, I'm not going to say it's unknown, but it's still something that's relatively new compared to, you know, what we deal with trading stocks on a daily basis. And so with that uncertainty comes risk and reward, right? And I think that that's important for everyone to understand. There's a reason why people go to it, because there is that reward available, but there's also a lot of uncertainty with regulation, with bad players, you know, pure
And I actually
FTX.
I've been like saying this lately. It's kind of been like my thesis is that this is, as far as bull runs go, whenever it starts, because this probably isn't really the beginning of the next bull run, and whether it's equities or crypto or whatever. This, especially for crypto, is probably the last upcoming bull run to really make like insane life-changing gains, because you have institutions doing massive accumulation. You know, you see like the Bitcoin spot ETF coming up. They're going to be accumulating so much that it's going to become the main holder of these assets. And the regulation, it's not going to be like the Wild Wild West, pretty much where it is now, where you could just like do whatever you want. It's like they don't know what's going on. They don't know I have money over here. They don't know I made these gains. I can rug these people. And so this is pretty much like the last one to really like maximize your profits. It doesn't mean like the opportunity is going to go away. You know, like you said, risk is what you pay for opportunity. You know, if you don't have any risk in the game, like, you're not going to get any reward. sure, you can go get a 401k, Roth, sure, whatever, do whatever you want. But like, that's not me. Like, I have a Roth and I trade it with options, but it's all about understanding your risk and defining it and staying within that so it's sustainable. Like, when I first got into options, it was like a vastly different market than crypto, because with crypto, you have the equivalent. They do have some options, but it's kind of fleeting. Perpetual futures. So it's like a futures contract, but forever. It's perpetual. So it doesn't roll over like it does with like ES and stuff like that. With options, it was like a hard and steep learning curve with learning, the Greeks, implied volatility, all this stuff that you have to factor in. You don't just find a good spot to buy and find your leverage and then let it go. No, it's a lot more to analyze. But I found that I do like trading stocks more than crypto because of the volatility is consistent. Every morning at 9:30 open, you could find volatility somewhere, and that's what you should be seeking is volatility. That's where your profit potential is at. Sure, you could find some slow grind up, like 4-month swing. That's not me personally. I can't stand those kind of trades. It's just, I guess it's not within my risk model. I like my money fast. I like my gains fast. And that's, everyone's different.
Love it. Love it in the chat. Loving it here too, Ryan. Any last comments, you can go ahead. But I wanted to give you the shout out. The chat definitely enjoying this conversation. In and out game, like Kansas is saying, also some solid guidance there. And like I've thrown up the link in the chat multiple times here. Let's give some Default a nice follow, and you guys can keep up with him. Like I said, one of my favorite follows. So definitely give him some love out here. And Ryan, any final comments before we get the fall out of here?
Yeah, actually quickly becoming one of my favorite Bitcoin follows as well. You earned another one here today. Doubly so using Leet Speak in your handle. Let's go. I don't think we see enough of that.
Yeah, no, probably not. Some people know my past. It's kind of, iffy, but now I'm just strictly trading. I love it. It's probably one of the only professions where you have unlimited upside.
Yeah.
And you can't really point to any other profession. I've racked my brain and I can't think of it. You could only sell a certain amount of things. And you could trade as much and make as much profit as your own skill set will allow.
And it's one of those things where you get out of it what you put into it, right? If you put a lot into it, you can get a lot out of it. If you're lazy about it, nothing might happen. That's really good stuff. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me. It's always good to come on and talk and share. That's like one of my things. Like, you see on Twitter, I try to share as much as I can because it's like, I wish I had someone like that to help me navigate the space. You know what I mean?
That's what I always say, right? As long as we can just like pay it forward for the next person that's trying to learn and even just help them bend the learning curve just a little bit so they can get faster than what probably we had to take, right? Learn it over years and years of experience.
So much money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it is. You guys give them a follow. We'll always bring you back. Default, the door's open for you, my friend. If you want to come and do some trading action, if you want to come talk back some crypto, hey, the door's open for you, man. So love talking to you, and definitely we'll keep up with you guys. You guys keep up with my man. Have a great one, Default. Take care.
Y'all take it easy, man.
Thank you. Take care, man.